culturing connection through cinema, visually connecting the African diaspora. Diasporadical Trilogia begins with the words of the title and the words of the definition of a myth. They are presented in a building fashion, with only a few letters appearing at a time. In the same way, the soundscape builds upon itself. In just the first 30 seconds of the short film, using visual and sonic practices, Blitz the Ambassador presents his argument. The African diaspora is separated through time and space, as represented by the letters, but are always visually connected and part of a larger whole, as represented by the whole word, Diasporadical Trilogia. In the first scene, the narrator is shown to be standing on a pier, surrounded by rolling, crashing waves. Each time a chapter ends or begins, water is always present in these scenes. This signifies the importance of water as a motif for the spiritual and a portal through time and space. The first chapter is titled Yamaya and the Singer. Yamaya is a widely known African Orisha. She resides in water, most commonly lakes and oceans, again establishing the connection between water and the spiritual. The story takes place in Accra, the capital of Ghana, in 1957, the year Ghana gained its independence. The specific Orisha, location, and time of the first story are masterfully chosen in order to connect with the largest audience using well-known deities and events. In addition, the use of a low-angle shot in the bar scene creates the feeling that the viewer is close to the action, furthering the link between the short film and the audience. One of the ending scenes is Yamaya dancing with others in some sort of ceremony or celebration, right beside the ocean. This further emphasizes water as a sacred space. Overall, the first story acts as a widely cast net, creating a connection with as many of the African diaspora as possible. Chapter 1 ends with the narrator back on the pier, looking out into the vastness of the ocean. This signals to the audience that this story is over and another will begin. In addition, there is an extreme close-up shot of Yamaya's eyes, and Chapter 2 begins with an extreme close-up shot of the father's eyes, both staring intensely into the camera. The use of eyes becomes a motif throughout the chapters, like water, signifying a transition to a new chapter and a connection to the spiritual. Furthermore, these extreme close-up shots force the viewer to focus only on the character and the story presented in the chapter. The next story is titled Egan and the Princess. Egan, or Egungun, is a masked or costume figure, which is the visual manifestation of the collection of cultural ancestors who guide and oversee us. This chapter is centered in Brooklyn, New York, the place of Blitz's current residence, in 1997, around the year he moved to the US. When the princess is sitting on the subway, the use of center framing visually presents the girl as alone and afraid. In addition, the girl stares directly into the camera, breaking the fourth wall and creating an intimate connection to the viewer. When Egan begins to accompany the princess, the contrasting lighting between the father and the daughter, accompanied by the song Shine, emphasize the protection and guidance received by the princess from Egan. The chapter ends, and the transition is signified by the close-up shot of eyes and by water, with a shot of the ocean and one of the twins laying in a boat. The final chapter, named Eveiji and the Wedding Guest, takes place in Salvador, Bahia, Brazil, the place with the largest population of Afro descendants outside of Africa, in 2017, the year after the film was made. The importance of these dates, 1957 representing the past, 1997 the present, and 2017 the future, further reinforces the relatability of the film, independent of the year it was viewed. The whole chapter is set by the ocean side, and consequently there are many spiritual events in the story. The wedding itself, the finding of Eveiji, the use of incense, and the significance of the palm fronds. Eveiji is an Orisha representing a pair of twins. They bring joy, happiness, and abundance to their followers. Interestingly, they were also said to be raised by Yamaya, which is a direct parallel in the film when the woman who was/is Yamaya brings one of the twins home. In the action scene of the chapter, the depiction of the twins at a low-angle shot with a long shot length portrays their strength, protecting the woman from the demolition crew. Again, similarly to the first chapter, in order to connect with the viewer, the positioning of the camera creates the feeling that the viewer is immersed in the film. Furthermore, there are a few moments in this chapter where the fourth wall is broken, and it seems as though the actors are looking directly at the viewer. The last scene is the wedding guest on the boat in the ocean with the Eveiji twins by her sides, staring at the camera with her hands raised. The use of water and eyes in this ending scene signifies a transition rather than an ending to this visual narrative. In conclusion, the presentation of African spirituality, Through visual depictions and motifs of water and eyes, and the use of different camera angles in Diasporadical Trilogia, visually connects the African diaspora.